Welcome back Trucking 101. Now, if you kept up with the previous videos, I bought a trailer from the auction in Oregon, and it sounded too good to be true. I bought a trailer that has a market value of about $20,000 in today's market. I got it for 10 grand. And the trailer was absolutely amazing. Now, all the way up there thinking, why did I get such a good deal on this trailer? Well, there was a blizzard in Oregon. It was right through Christmas and New Year's, and there was record lows in Oregon and Washington. I took a power-only unit from Houston up to Tacoma, and then I deadheaded to Oregon, Portland, Oregon. I got the trailer. I put 40,000 pounds in there for the winter, and I headed back to Houston right now. Fortunately, I made it out to New Mexico, and it's good driving now in New Mexico. It's 25 degrees, but there's no snow or ice out there. And once I pass the Texas state line, go back home to Houston, usually my blood pressure lowers and I'm more comfortable because I love driving in Texas. The great state of Texas, many perks, and driving is one of them. Now we're going to go over today over winter survival, how to survive in this winter. I mean, on my journey in the last 8 days, I probably seen maybe 10, 15 trucks upside down, sideways on the side of the road. And I want to give you some advice to help you, to prevent you from actually winding up on that side of the road or minimizing your risk. First of all, we're going to go over being a company driver, a lease operator, or owner-operator assigned to a carrier, and you have that Nazi of a fucking dispatcher who's on the phone saying, oh, you have to get there. No, you don't. When it's adverse weather conditions, you're the commander of your own ship. You get there when you feel like it. You get there when you believe it's safe. And if I can upload the actual phone calls I had with the shippers, the receivers, and the brokers during this bad weather driving, you know, it would amaze you at how compassionate they are, how kind they are, how understanding they are. Because they don't want fatalities or accidents either. They want to get their load from point A to point B and make sure everybody's safe. So you as a truck driver, irrespective of what level of the game you're in, you're the commander of your ship. If you don't feel like it's safe to drive and you have to ask yourself, is it safe? Pull over. In the winter, I only drive during the daytime, especially during bad weather. My work schedule starts at sunrise and ends at sunset, because that's another extra risk driving at night in the winter in bad weather. Why take that extra risk? If you have a carrier or a dispatcher that's giving you pushback about getting a load there a little late because of the bad weather, find yourself a new job. The second thing I learned on this journey is it's my first time using snow socks. I uploaded a video about my snow sock experience, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I was in and out. I put the socks on all the tires. I was in and out, ready to go in about 20 minutes. The guy next to me was running chains. It took about 45 minutes to do the same job. They're very practical, very easy to use, and they work just as well as chains. And it was less work. As a matter of fact, when I get home to Houston, I'm going to order a set of snow socks for every truck I have. And one of the reasons I'm going to do that because they're so effective, and I don't want the driver to actually skim out on safety because of the actual manual labor aspect of truck driving. I don't want him to think, oh, I don't want to spend 2 hours out here chaining up and have him try to wing it and wind up in a ditch somewhere. So they're actually very reasonably priced. I bought, 8 snow socks for about $900. I got it at Love's. They are DOT friendly, so if DOT asks you for your change, you can show them the socks. You're good to go. Number one. Number two, the only bad thing I've heard about the snow socks is the longevity. Whereas chains will last you 5-10 winters, people are claiming that the socks will last you 2-3 winters. Well, even if that's the case, I mean, dropping $1,000 on a truck every 3-4 years, and it helps me with the safety of my company and the safety of the drivers. It's well worth it for me. Another thing we're going to talk about is the most primitive form of social media. This bad boy right here, $40, that's going to save your life. Now, most people avoid radios, especially newer drivers, and I kind of don't blame them for a reason. Truckers aren't really the most savory people to sit there and chit-chat with sometimes, but these radios save lives. And people will get on here in bad weather and actually give the other drivers warnings. I myself do the same thing. I mean, you got a mile radius on this radio, and if something happens a mile ahead, they're out there giving warnings. Usually what I like to do with bad weather is I put the windows down just an inch so I can hear better. I turn off on my radio, my music radio. I put the phone on silent. I don't answer calls. I don't do anything but drive, and I try to go below the speed limit. And like I said before, I only drive from sunrise to sunset. My day ends at sunset. My truck is stopped. If it's below freezing, if it's below 32 degrees, I let that truck idle. Even the trucks that I have APUs on, I don't have a shut-off device in them, so I let them idle in the winter. It's probably better for the truck. One more thing is that the logbook. You know, a lot of drivers are trying to beat the logbook, or you know, they have to hurry up because they might be out of hours. But the reality is that the FMCSA is very friendly towards adverse weather conditions. And go ahead and go on personal conveyance. If it means safety, go ahead and take your time. But don't worry about the logbook. If you're gonna get there late, it's no problem. If you're gonna go over hours, it's no problem. What the problem is safety, and you get into an accident and hurting yourself or other people. Another thing that saves lives in the winter is winter clothing. Now, if you saw my jumpsuit in the last video, it was absolutely hideous. But you know what? It kept it nice and cozy. I bought the Carhartt jumpsuit for, I think it was about $250 years ago. And I've used it probably once or twice every winter in freezing weathers, and it's well worth it. I never leave home in the winter without a jumpsuit. The shoes I wear for the winter, I bought Michelin Fat Tire shoes, and they're waterproof. They're pretty much everything proof, and they have an amazing grip on there. And a grip is a very, very important thing to have on those shoes in the winter. You don't want to be slipping and sliding and break your ankles. Another thing we're going to talk about is actual food, your survival meals. You're going to have 3-4 days of non-perishable items in this truck. If that truck freezes up, if you get stuck somewhere, you got to be prepared to feed yourself and have a couple of gallons of water in there until help arrives. These are some basic things I've learned about trucking. Take your sweet time, and you are the commander of your own ship. Don't let anybody hurry you or rush you. Don't let Joe, the super trucker that goes 100 miles an hour next to you, intimidate you. Hell, let Joe be Joe, you be you. And Joe's probably going to wind up in a ditch driving like that. Help him out too, but you know what? You can't control what other drivers do. If he's honking at you or this or that, pull over, let him pass. Take your time, folks. That's the number one safety tip in the winter. Take your damn time. You folks have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Like and subscribe.